MotoE rounds will be coming thick and fast from this moment on, and with 6 riders covered by just 23 points, the look of the championship standings could be turned completely on its head. You're in the company of myself, Kiko Giles, and my spar and sparring partner in 2025, Neil Morrison. MotoE action has been electric in more ways than one this season, Neil. But with so many riders so close in the standings, this weekend could be one of the most pivotal as we hit the halfway point. The clouds here are gathering over Balaton Park. We've had no rain yet, so we should be dry for MotoE qualifying, and Q1 is coming up now.
Well, certainly is, Kiko, and I'm super excited about this qualifying session. We've got an absolutely stacked Q1 lineup. Some of the biggest hitters in the category will be appearing in this Q1 session, as you can see inside your screen. And only 2 places up for offer. I think this is going to be one of the hottest and competitive sessions we've had all year.
2 places up for offer. One of them should be going the way of the championship leader, Andrea Mantovani. He's got to come through this. Hector Garza, our reigning champion and double podium finisher last time out in Austria. He's also coming through this. Double winner last time out in Austria, Matteo Ferrari. He's going to be in Q1. Oscar Gutierrez and Kevin Zanoni have had podiums in 2025. Maria Herrera has chased podium in 2025. If you could choose 2, and if you can get them right, I tell you what, you deserve a seat up here in comms, because I don't think either of us can get this one nailed down, Neil. There is so much opportunity and so many riders who think they can all do it.
Yeah, absolutely. This rider will be one of them. Kevin Zanoni coming here on the back of, let's be honest, a completely disastrous weekend in Austria. 13th place for Zanoni in race 1, 17th place for him in race 2. Crash at the start of Q1 really put him on the back foot for the rest of the weekend. Never quite recovered from that.
This was why it went wrong, wasn't it, back in qualifying? So the importance of qualifying never been shown to be kind of that important before, but Kevin Zanoni's been on the podium in 2025. A lot of work to do this time around. We are less than 2 minutes away from this. Other riders in this as well. Well, Hector Garza, he has got to be looking at coming through all that hard work, the donkey work he did last time out, and he is going to be, well, lucky to come through this. You wouldn't have your money on him, Nukudu, if you look at the other riders.
Yeah, exactly. Garza was 10th in practice, which means he should be forefront off of the section, but still far from ideal for the current number 1. It looked as though he had been hitting his stride after the trouble opening to the year. Back in Austria, he qualified 4th and then 2 podiums. The first time he was on the podium this year in race 1. Backed that up with another solid performance in race 2. But as Kiko said, not quite gone to plan so far. But not quite gone to plan for the championship leader.
No, not at all. This is the second time in 2 rounds. This is the 3rd time this year we see Andrea Mantovani really struggling in qualifying. Of course, at Assen he was pretty spectacular, but he's not been really that spectacular since. And I'll tell you why we're seeing these big names, Neil. We've got the likes of Nicola Spinelli and Luca Bernardi. They went straight through earlier. But of course, we are in Hungary. An 18-year-old Hungarian, Tibor Erik Varga, moved straight through, was actually 2nd earlier on in the standings. So we've got 3 names there that you wouldn't normally put straight into Q2, which puts places at a premium in this session we're about to see.
Absolutely. I think that is going to be one of the big draws for Hungarian fans coming to the Balaton Park circuit tomorrow to see the emerge victorious on home soil. It's a story now for MotoGP this year. We've had 6 races so far, 5 different race winners. What we've seen so far today could well be a 6th in 7 races tomorrow. But before we get to that, let's get to qualifying. Q1 has started, as you can see, and well, this one.
Very hard to tell. I'm going to go Garzo, even though I knocked him a bit at the start of this. I said I wouldn't be putting too much money on him. I'm going to go Garzo and Ferrari on the basis of Ferrari's pace last time out. He clicked with the bike. I spoke to him on Thursday. I'm not going to go Mantovani because he struggled last time to get out of Q1 now. So yeah, Garzo and Ferrari for me. What about you?
Maybe Oscar Gutierrez, the number 99. A couple of strong performances in Austria. He was come back right from a pretty serious injury just 1 week ago. Gutierrez found himself in this session as well, but not so much a surprise. Obviously, he had a big enforced absence due to injury when he was recovering. Also surprised to see him in this session. I think it's going to take him a little bit more time to get to his absolute best. We see the number 99 on our screens just here, but the reason why it's big is the Matteo Ferrari coming here in his life in recent years for sure. Double victory, first rider to win more than
I think part of that might be down to the fact that this place is all new, riders trying to work it out for themselves. Some of them have had previous experience. Warwick Varga is one of them, Mattia Casadei another, but Matteo Ferrari has still put some money on him going straight through, but perhaps a little bit of extra track time is just what the number 11 needs. The 28-year-old from Rimini in Italy, we pick him up now, he's working his way back down towards turn 15, which is the start of the final chicane. 15 and 16 is a chicane, and it's a relatively quick left-hander onto the straight, and these MotoE machines will be working their way up towards their first flying laps, and they're starting now as we pick up right at the front. This is the 658 machine of Tommaso Occhi, I think it is. Yes, it is indeed. So Occhi already making his way around on his first flying lap. Now, he was quite considerably off the pace earlier on in practice, but again, a new track, and a lot of these bikes, this MotoE Ducati, it has its own quirks, and part of that with a new track, and if you're a rookie as well, it is a very hard task.
Yeah, it certainly is. There was something you imagined up with Tommaso Occhi's machine earlier. 5 seconds off at the end of practice, and not 5 seconds off in this World Championship unless you're having one or two issues on field. So let's see if we can get a little bit closer to the front in this Q1 section. Just looking at was Mantovani just there on his current lap, and that is Matteo Ferrari through these fast double rides. Probably the two most interesting corners, I would say, on this circuit. I mean, it's very tight. I think qualifying's obviously going to be super important to start out front with a clear track ahead, but soon taking opportunities behind. It will lend itself to some quite exciting racing.
There's a lot of interesting points with the chicanes for me. They are overtaking opportunities, but particularly in qualifying, if you crash, that bike goes through the gravel. There's a lot of energy and momentum carried with these MotoE bikes. There's a lot of gravel that can be thrown back on the track, and that's something I want to come to. Yellow flags, of course, cancels lap times, guys. So it's really important to get one in right at the start. We saw how important that was last time out in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. Riders coming to the line. Occhi, the first one to set time. Hosiuk next. Then it's Fusco and Gutierrez. But those times are going to tumble. They're quite varied already, Neil. But we are going to get down to business very, very soon. Matteo Ferrari straight in with a 46.3. Something a little bit more like.
Yeah, that is a little bit more like it. Taken today, his fastest time from practice earlier today, just around lunchtime, was a 45.8. So still some way to go, about half a second still until you're reaching that kind of lap time. Conditions look pretty good, as you can see on our screens just now. Not quite clear blue skies, but certainly the weather has been a lot better than we were anticipating today. It is very, very windy. I heard one or two riders saying after their section this afternoon, the wind was very difficult to be consistent. Now, we did see in the other categories lots and lots of riders running offline, running off track, running through the chicanes as they just got up to speed with this circuit, and then have to deal, of course, with the gusset wind that have been blowing around this Balaton Park circuit all day.
And the other thing that some MotoE riders were talking to me about on inside the E-paddock on Thursday evening was the fact that these bikes are some of the heaviest bikes, and they're not so much lazy, but they're a little bit more complicated to wrestle around.
Yeah, that is a good point, Kiko. As you can see, Garzo must be a little bit frustrated getting held up here by Vanella, that is, the second Gresini rider. But you're absolutely right, Kiko. You just have to look at this track, and there's quite fast changes of direction from turns 1 to 2. Then you've got a chicane at 5 and 6, another one at 9 and 10, 12 and 13, and then 15 and 16. All really fast, sharp changes of direction. And these bikes are a little bit heavier, just a little bit heavier than other bikes that these riders will have experienced, and that I'm sure will be a bit of a factor through the day.
You've heard of chicken farms. This is a chicane farm. Across the line, Hector Garzo goes P1 and gets ahead of Matteo Ferrari. So very good stuff indeed for Garza, but he's going to have to scrub the next lap because he's gone deep in turn one. And how many times have we seen riders go in deep down towards turn one after setting the fastest lap or their personal best fastest lap of a session? It is a really tricky opening turn to this lap, and if you go wide at turn one, that's the whole lap scrubbed off. You've got to come all the way back round again to start.
See a replay here. This is of Garzo. It's a moment there on the exit of that particular turn.
Oh, this is a smoke from the boot, I think. Oh.
So Garzo then all on the line. We saw photos of from Albert Gersbrucks after the Austrian Grand Prix. I think it was that his right boot was completely worn through by the time he was speaking to us in the press conference after the race, which was quite a remarkable sight to see. It gives you an impression of just how much he was using his foot to graze along the tarmac.
Worth it for P2 though, up in MotoGP, wasn't it? So I've got to say, Hector Garzo, very good job indeed. And at the moment, Neil, that's my predictions absolutely nailed on. But I think we've got a little bit of life left in this one just yet.
See Gutierrez giving it absolutely everything as he comes through the third split. That was a decent sector as well. He managed to gain a little bit of time on Garzo. Ferrari on the quick one as well as we pick up with that is Hosio. I think that is Gutierrez's teammate, the Romanian rider. So also was to improve his time in sixth. He jumps up to fourth. And Gutierrez goes third, still not good enough for a spot inside the top two. And we were talking about this chicane fault. There's so many chicanes around this track for a rider coming back from such a serious injury, like broken bones in his pelvis. You imagine that this is going to be a different effort for Oscar Gutierrez, who's still not 100% physically fit.
It really would be, and for Oscar Gutierrez, I think the thing with this one will be get through qualifying, see where you're at, and try and get stuck in the race. Of course, this track, it's new as well. Gutierrez is still not fit, and like you say, Neil, yeah, this is a physical one. It's probably, I would say, the most physical on the calendar, because there aren't long straights so you get any kind of rest. It is very much side to side. There's only really out this corner. This is turn 4 going down the back straight, which, as you can see, it's not that long at all, but it is a very, very physical circuit. Look at Jacopo Hosio just on this one, Neil. A 10th off halfway around this lap. I tell you what, this is going to be contention for the top 2 at this rate.
Decent stuff from Hosio. We're just hearing in our headset from Elliot that the Garzo is parked in pit road, which means that no further improvements will be coming from him. So Hosio could put the Radiant champ on the back foot. We need to look at the championship leaders. We're down in 7th. Just looking at his times on our splits. Look at that, 7 tenths off through split number 2. So I don't think Mantovani is going to be coming through this Q1 session.
Yeah, Mantovani's having a nightmare here, isn't he? Hosjuk's coming through 16. Short burst up to 17, try and carry some corner speed. We saw Hosjuk come so close last week at the Red Bull Ring here. Driving to the line. Is this going to knock Hector Garzo out? Oh, it is! Hector Garzo, well, he's in the pit, and he is going to be in a pit of despair at this rate, because that is third and out. Jacopo Hosjuk, the Romanian rider, is about as close to home as we get here on the MotoGP calendar for the number 12, has just put in an absolute shock and a stellar final sector to move up into P2. Fantastic stuff. Mantovani across the line, 7th for him. Herrera improves but stays 9th. One last lap for both of the Clint Forward factory team machines to get into Q2 if they can.
Brilliant stuff from Hosio. The first time potentially he could go through into Q2, and there is Hector Garzo. Well, I'm ready for his thoughts, because he, at the moment, is looking at 10th place on the grid at best.
That is just a disaster, isn't it? Yeah.
11th.
The 11th, yeah, because the top 2 join 8 already through. Hector Garzo's going to be 11th at best. That is a total disaster. Kevin Zanoni as well looks like he might be able to inflict a bit more damage if he can hold that all the way through this final flying lap.
Yeah, Mantovani, we go on board with him. This is a good time to join with the championship leader. You can see he's getting real buffeting around this circuit, just from the movement on the bike, from the wind as well. He's 6 tenths off through sector number 2. No point in this session for those Mantovani.
No, well, across the course of the day either, really, and really since the Red Bull Ring, I mean, Mantovani pretty stellar in the opening 2 rounds, but the Red Bull Ring long straights aren't a good thing. Maybe a little bit too point and squirt for one of the heavier riders on this grid. But Andrea Mantovani, this is turning into a disaster for him. It'll be 15th on the grid at best as it stands. Down into 15 and 16. This is, Alessio Finello has gone down, and that'll be yellow flags out on the track. Through the final corner for Zanoni. I don't think this is going to be good enough for the top 2, but can he improve his own grid position across the line? Yes, he can. He moves up into 4th, but that is going to be 12th at best, and he's taken the checkered flag.
Disappointing stuff for Zanoni yet again. Really disappointing for Andrea Mantovani. You think the kind of line that he had at the Red Bull Ring, you get away with maybe one of those lines if you want to be champion in MotoE this year, but 2, especially 2 on the points, it does not bode well for his championship.
I tell you what, that is Alessio Finello's very second-hand Filo Grassini MotoE team bike getting dragged back through the gravel. That front end has taken a battering, so good to see that Alessio Finello is okay. And Finello 6th in this session, so that is going to put him at the head of the 5th row. That'll be 14th place by my very quick and abrupt mental arithmetic live on air, but you can see that's been a fast crash. I wonder if that's over at turn 8 on the approach to the chicane, because he has had a battering there.
It's a fast whole place to crash. I think we saw Alvaro Bautista crash there on lots of bikes when that championship was here at the Balaton Park circuit 1 month ago. And Bautista was very, very lucky to get away from that particular incident. Good to see Finello at least up and walking, but just one of a number of storylines in this session. Well, Hector Garza didn't make it through, nor did Kevin Zanoni, a podium finisher in the first one of the MotoE World Championship. Oscar Gutierrez won the very first race of this year's World Championship, and the championship leader, Andrea Mantovani. None of those riders making it through to Q2.
A total disaster, but this is going to be a career best, regardless of what happens in the second session, by Jacopo Hosio up into P2 to move through into Q2. Hosiok's previous best qualified has been 11th. That was last time out. So another rider, the more time he has on these MotoE bikes, the faster he gets.
Yeah, absolutely. And a name that we don't know too much about coming into this season, let's be honest. Just a bit like Tito Garza, but also showing that he much performs on this World Championship stage in the MotoE Series. And first appearance in Q2, just reward for his efforts. A big win from Matteo Ferrari, who had a really tricky lunchtime practice session, but managing to get through with a 146.1.
Let's see if he can improve it again later on in Q2. It's going to be tight for that, but Matteo Ferrari puts himself in contention. Jacopo Hosiok joins him for the first time into Q2 for the Romanian riders. So podiums in NTC, and now making a little bit of headway as well in MotoE at the expense of our reigning champion Hector Garza. Down in 3rd, that's 11th on the grid, ahead of Kevin Zanoni, who's had a podium this year. Gutierrez 5th in that session. Finello has crashed. Mantovani, a disaster for the number 9 in P7. Raffaele Fusco 8th ahead of Maria Herrera. Tommaso Occhi a little bit off the pace, 1.8 seconds behind the Spaniard ahead of him, and he's going to be completing that MotoE qualifying grid down in 10th up to Q1. But they all chase Matteo Ferrari, or at least Jacopo Hosiok does, as he moves up into Q2. And that is where the pole battle will begin at Balaton. Back to Balaton Park. We have just had Q1. We're moving through. Matteo Ferrari and Jacopo Hosiok join the already seeded 8 riders to go into the pole battle. One rider who is not, Hector Garza, out in Q1. The reigning champion is with Elliot York, our pit lane reporter.
It certainly is, Hector. What happened there? You looked like you were pretty strong, looking comfortable, then pulled into pit lane. What was the tactics? What was the thinking?
Well, yeah, we tried everything. It's first time here for me. I never been here before. You see that here before I was taking train, but well, I tried my best. I knew that I couldn't make a better lap than this. this is what it is, and we will try to do our best tomorrow.
What's your first impressions of Balaton Park? It's quite a different circuit to anywhere we really go to. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's so physical. I think if we do maybe a little bit more of laps, like many of the riders on the grid did, but well, we hope the best for them.
Confident you can fight back through to challenge for top 5 podium tomorrow?
Well, we should see.
Thanks, Hector.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hector, and thank you, Elliot, down there in pit lane getting blown about because the wind has really picked up. This is qualifying 2 and moving through Ferrari and Hosjet with Cassidy, Varga, Zacconi, Baldassare and Granado Spinelli. Luca Bernardi for the first time in Q2 as well. Jordi Torres looking to try and bounce back after a tricky Red Bull ring last time out. But they are your 10 names who can be on pole. And I'll tell you what, Neil, Tibor Eric Varga has been impressive. 6th and 4th last time out, 2nd in practice earlier on today. He's racing at home, he's got the fans behind him. I can feel something special happening. Maybe not today, but perhaps tomorrow, because this rider on your screen, the number 47, has been sensational over the last week or so.
He has come into his own in this MotoE World Championship. Rookie here to remind ourselves, but Varga has been super impressive as of late. As Nico said, 6th and 4th place just 1 week ago, and already lapping up a bit of that hook support. There is the Hungarian flag flying just above the just next to the grandstand. That's along the start-finish straight, and Varga going across to green. Some of those fans that go around the grandstand is owner of Snipers Racing. I just feel that momentum's building, and the fact that we're now here on Hungarian soil, I'll just keep playing into this field.
And the nice thing is that MotoE so often has been where riders come to do the last bit of their career, but Tibor Eric Varga genuinely looks like someone who could make his way in Grand Prix or at least Superbike racing, and that's really good. 18 years old from Debrecen, the second city of Hungary. He is on home soil, and nice to see him making a proper go of it in his rookie year.
It really is. And I've seen this before. I've seen a couple of riders come through MotoE and use it as a stepping stone to jump into other Grand Prix categories. Just have to look at one of the podium finishers in last week's MotoGP race. Fernando Albuquerque was, I think, pole sitter at the Red Bull Ring in his one and only MotoE appearance. And has obviously gone on to bigger and better things since then. Just have a look at Lorenzo Baldassare. Baldassare, so consistent this year. Never finished outside the top 6 in any of his 6 MotoE appearances so far. He was looking pretty good earlier this afternoon as well. Over last time, Baldassare 4th fastest.
He's growing in confidence, isn't he, Baldassare? Number 7, 5th on the grid last time out, and he crashed doing it, so he got away with one. I reckon the front row's within his grasp today. Eric Granado, front row last time out, front row the first round of the year. Championship down in 13th, crashed on the last lap out of the podium position, was on the podium in race 1 though last time out. So Granado and Baldassare, perhaps 2 of your dark horses in the pole battle, and 4 podiums this weekend at Balaton Park.
He'll still be kicking himself from that crash in race 2. The podium was there. That would have been his 2nd podium of the day. And would have given him a bit of an outside shot still in the championship, but it's a very big uphill task now. But I think we're looking at the favourite for pole position, Kiko, judging by practice performance earlier today.
Mattia Cassidy, of course, has been here before. He's one of the few riders that have. Maria Herrera was another, but Cassidy was here in World Supersport duty back in the World SBK round. Cassidy has got pace. He needs to iron out his mistakes.
He does, and he was a full 6/10 per second faster than 2nd place in practice earlier, which goes to show that he wasn't just fastest, but he had a real margin over the rest of the field. And you feel, Kiko, that recent experience that he had in the World Supersport Championship will definitely pay off here. And as you said, he needs to kind of iron out those mistakes. There have been too many, too frequent in recent weeks.
Well, I tell you what, with Andrea Mantovani qualifying where he has, this is a huge land of opportunity to really steal the show going into the next half of this season. We are only at the midway point as of tomorrow, race 1 here in MotoE. But Andrea Mantovani, your championship leader, downfield and down on the grid. This has got to be, if they can't capitalise here, you do feel where, because we said this last time out as well, Neil, in Austria, that really Andrea Mantovani was quite lucky to come away with the same amount of points in his advantage as he arrived to Austria. We have got track action. Eric Granado is the first one out. This is Matteo Ferrari who's joining him. So 1 minute or so into this session, not everyone taking to the track immediately, perhaps just waiting for a little bit of strategy to come into this one. But if I were them, I'd be getting out straight away.
Always good to get a fast lap time on the board early doors, especially when recent qualifying sessions have shown that yellow flags can be a real problem for riders late on. As we pick up with the home hero, Timo Varga, nice and distinctive crash helmet. And there is the Varga fan club in one of the grandstands. I'm not too sure which grandstand that is exactly, but you can see the number 47 adorned all over those little flags that they've got.
I think it's turn 4. I think it's the exit of turn 4. So Timo Varga, the fans obviously supporting him very, very much indeed. This is his teammate, Nicolas Spinelli. Now, Spinelli crashed in qualifying last week in Red Bull Ring. He doesn't want to do the same again.
Yeah, certainly doesn't. Spinelli has, I guess he's had a consistent year so far, but it's not been eye-catching. This was a rider that won more than one race last year, and at one point looked to shoe in for the championship. I think he won the first 3 of 4 races in last year's series, and then really went off the boil in the second half of the championship. Did Granado just had a bit of a shake coming out of turn 4 just there. I think you heard his rear Michelin screaming, and you can hear it screeching under pressure, under duress as he breaks down into turn 5, then the switch back here to turn 6, and then these 2 corners here, 7, and then we just missed the as we cut away there at 7 and 8, 2 real fast corners, and can be taking at great speed in these MotoE machines.
They are the corners that most of the riders have, so far the ones I've spoken to today, thoroughly enjoy, because it is a chance just to really let it ride right out. They're similar to, I think, is it turn 5 and 6 in Mandalika as well. The fast rides up before the S is at the top before you drop back down towards the C. It's very similar to that. You just let it run right out. They're both fast right-hand pinks, so good to see that even though there are a few chicanes here and there at the Balaton Park circuit, but good to see a couple of good, fast, old-school kind of corners.
Most certainly. As we pick up with Granado on a decent time here, just a reminder, the fastest MotoE time we've had today at 45.8. If you're in the 45s, I think you'll be doing very well indeed. You'll be knocking on the door off the front row. You can see Eric Granado very close to that time with his first flying lap.
That's a cracking effort, I've got to say. Granado has been on the front row, as we've said a couple of times this year. Pole has eluded him though, so he's got extra motivation, and Eric Granado looking very, very good there indeed. We are picking up now Matteo Ferrari, who's at the halfway point, coming through the chicane at turns 12 and 13, and it's the fast left at turn 14. These MotoE bikes will be sliding through there. He drops a lot of time though, so Ferrari, but he's going to get 1 lap on the board. Look at that, Lorenzo Baldassarri at the halfway point. He's challenging as well as we get into the final chicane and the final complex, the short burst up towards turn 17. We're going to take Matteo Ferrari across the line, but I don't think this is going to challenge Granado unless he's done something magical, which he hasn't, but it's still a good enough lap time and a representative lap time, at least from Matteo Ferrari, if anything else goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Baldassarri can do. You can see he's lost a big old chunk of time in sector number 3. Wonder if Casadei can keep this up. Granado, incidentally, is 6 tenths faster than he went earlier today, so he really was pushing on that first line lap.
Let's take across line Jordi Torres. He's 1.1 off. Varga goes provisional front row, but he's got a bit more left in the locker there. He did a 46.4 earlier on, so there's about half a second still for Tibor Eric Varga to find. Balda goes third, drops another 3 tenths in the final sector, so Balda's got the first half of the Balaton Park lap sorted, not the second half. Casadei, he goes straight into second, so the LCRE team are doing very well indeed on their first laps out the box, going right into competitive lap times. 1-2 at the moment, Granado from Casadei.
I wonder whether Casadei's just easing himself into this session after some of the mistakes that we mentioned previously, Kiko. We do know that he can go a decent bit faster than this, but a good early lap on the board for Casadei. As Ferrari is really in the mix in the first 2 splits here, but this is where he lost by big time last time around.
This is coming through 4th in. You can hear the wind. I don't know if you guys can hear it at home, but in the headset we can kind of alter the sound balance in here, and I can tell you the ambient, because the MotoE bikes are so quiet, you can really hear the wind gusting. So that's an extra factor for them to deal with as they all go for pole. As we take Ferrari through the turn 17 left-hander and back out onto the start and finish straight. Where is this lap going to put him? Does it move him up at all? No, he lost some time actually in that final sector, so he stays on the provisional front row. Tibor Erik Varga is a little bit better on this lap. That's a bit more like it for the number 47 Hungarian. Zacconi is also on a very good lap, as is Balda, and both of those riders, or all three of those riders, Varga, Zacconi and Balda, are in this final sector now. As we pick up Zacconi, he is going to be the first one to the line, just behind Varga. Varga's going to cross line, goes 4. Zacconi goes second. Balda, what has he got in the locker? He goes 4th. And that is a big change up on the front row. Zacconi going in and splitting the two LCR machines. Balda 4th. We miss Spinelli going 5th. Ferrari back down to 6th. Varga in the end 7th. 8th for Torres. Bernardi 9th. And across the line, Cassidy back to making an LCR E-Team 1-2 and demotes his teammate, and that is the fastest lap of the weekend by 0.03 of a second. Mattia Cassidy, his previous experience here at Balaton Park, paying dividends in MotoE for you too.
It certainly is brilliant stuff from Cassidy then to go onto the provisional pole. I really think that the other riders will be going some if they manage to beat that in the final 2.5 minutes that we have in this session. Although Lorenzo Baldassarre on his latest lap showing that that could well be within his reach as he sets the fastest first sector, although Cassidy is going faster yet again, and Zacconi is looking pretty good through split number 2. So maybe what I just said is out of Toshki, going up for the first time.
You said that, not me. Ferrari, he seems to be losing quite a lot of time in that third sector. I tell you what, that third sector might be a little bit technical, and if you haven't got it hooked up, that's where you're losing your time. Let's see what he does this time. Currently 6th, moves up to 5th, so he jumps 1 place higher on that second row, but red sector's galore. Zacconi is up as he comes into sector 3. He's just dropped a couple of tenths. Balda's next, and Balda is still up in that third sector, so Lorenzo Baldassarre looking to get on the front row for the first time. He might make it a first pole. Mattia Cassidy, who's just gone top, he's also looking to improve on his own time. We are taking through the final corner, the 29 of Spinelli, then it's Zacconi, and then it's Jordi Torres. Zacconi improves second. Spinelli was, Balda! Spinelli was up to 4th, back to 5th, because Balda's gone to pole position. Lorenzo Baldassarre on provisional pole, but let's wait for Mattia Cassidy, who is coming to the line now, 45.7 to beat, and it's a 45.6.00, and that is the fastest lap of the weekend. Once again for Mattia Cassidy, he is in good form, he's knocking laps out one after the other, and that is why we said at the top of the show, Neil, he is the favourite coming into this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Cassidy showing that he's on course to secure a 3rd straight front row start in this MotoE category, and putting that recent experience of riding here in the World Supersports category to good use. So Cassidy sitting pretty brilliant stuff this from Lorenzo Baldassarre, I have to say. Still hasn't had a front row start in his short MotoE career to date. That could well change in the next minute or so. You can see Matteo Ferrari still struggling through split number 3, losing about 0.3 of a second to Cassidy's fastest time. And needless to say that with each fastest time we've seen in this session, it is a new all-time circuit record for MotoE in this circuit.
Of course, and I'm not going to be surprised if we see them drop a little bit more off tomorrow. Ferrari to the line, moves up to 5th. Did he go on the green that time around? He was very, very close. But Matteo Ferrari, if he didn't, has got another lap anyway, and he is in 5th place in the middle of that second row of the grid. Spinelli on a personal best, and he's leading around Zacconi, and then it is Jordi Torres, and we picked them up now. This is 16, the burst to 17, keep it left and drive it to the line. Nicola Spinelli is looking to try and improve. This isn't going to be the front row, but it is going to be the front of the second row, and he's out-qualified Alessandro Zacconi, and Torres moves up to the head of the third row. Tibor Erik Varga saves the best till last to put himself 4th, and not only out-qualify his teammate, but really give himself a chance going into Saturday's 2 races. Tibor Erik Varga does leave it late, but he does deliver, but no one can catch this rider here. The number 40 of Mattia Cassidy is going to be on pole again. Lorenzo Baldassarre back for his his first front row in MotoE, and Eric Granado, it's going to be 3 front rows from 4 rounds if it all stays the same. But Matteo Ferrari, the only one who could have a say here, Neil.
Yeah, the only one. Let's see how he does in this sector just now, because this is where he's been losing all of his time all afternoon long. Switch back just here as he comes down to this fast left, which leads done comfortably his best qualifying performance in MotoE to date as well.
It's back-to-back bests, isn't it? Because he was on the 3rd row last time out at the Red Bull Ring in P9, and now he moves up to P4, so he gets ever closer to the top 3. And I tell you what, we saw what his pace was like in the race last weekend in Austria. I wouldn't be too surprised if with a good start he can jump ahead of Granado and Baldassarri, and this rider here, Mattia Casadei. This is down at turn 11. Now we've seen a couple of moments through turn 12, this right-hander, and let's see if Mattia Casadei joins the club of riders having moments, or is it just super smooth and looking at where he's going to be starting tomorrow, which is pole? Yes, I think it was the latter. He comes through very, very easily indeed. Let's talk about this side. Lorenzo Baldassarri, by far and away his best qualified in MotoE, one of the tallest riders on the grid, and now one of the highest up on the grid as well.
Yeah, first front row start for Lorenzo Baldassarri in MotoE. He's gone 8th, 5th, and now 2nd. And it has been a consistent and steady start to his MotoE career, but I do feel that there is still a lot more to come from the Italian. Perhaps we'll start to see that in tomorrow's 2 races. Baldassarri not fairly well out of the championship fight at this early stage, so might be aiming a little bit high for a rookie. Baldassarri 3rd in the championship, just 19 points back of Mantovani, and judging by the grid that we have just set, he's going to be making up some big points in Mantovani if he can keep it rubber side down tomorrow.
He really is, and Andrea Mantovani doesn't look like he's going to be able to come through. Hector Garzo perhaps, but Mantovani looked a bit lost earlier as well in practice. But coming into Parc Ferme, Eric Granado it is who takes that 3rd place next to Lorenzo Baldassarri. And then once again, the LCRE team, they are dominant in qualifying, aren't they? They really have got their strategy sorted out, and that's why they're P1 and P3.
Yeah, they were both on the front row last time out in Austria as well, even if they were beaten to pole position by Ferrari. So they both come into Parc Ferme, Casadei and Granado. Good stuff yet again from the pair of them. We'll be catching up with a good friend and colleague, Elliot York, in a minute or two.
Can't quite see Elliot down there just yet. Where is he? Is he hiding behind that marshal's post, perhaps? Oh, you're not missing anything. There's nothing to look at. That's why we're only here for you. Just further down the order, Jacopo Hosjuk, not bad at all, Neil. 9th place there, getting ahead of Luca Bernardi, who was already through into Q2 directly from practice. So Jacopo Hosjuk, just like Tibor Eric Margaret, just grown in a bit of stature lately.
Yeah. 2 riders, Hosjuk and Bernardi, who've got personal best qualifyings. And I think tomorrow's races should be very interesting, not just because we've got a home hero in 4th on the grid. We've got 3 riders that could potentially fight for victory on the front row as well. And we've also got some big hitters coming through from further back in the pack. We're looking at the Garza on 11th, Zanoni in 12th, Austin Gutierrez in 13th, the championship leader, and Mantovani in 15th. So we have to keep our eyes peeled throughout all the grid in tomorrow's 2 races.
And another massive sticking point is going to be down into turn 1 for the first time. You really could have done with qualifying further up the order on the front row, and I think we are going to be getting ready to hear from one rider who is on the front row. It is Eric Granado, a 3rd of the year, and he's down there with Elliot.
Eric on the front row once again. I'm sure that's job done, target achieved for today. How are you feeling on this new circuit and confident for tomorrow's races?
Yes, I'm so happy. We did a great job today. Understanding how the bike works better on this track is a really difficult track, very technical. Many chicanes. For me it's not easy because of my leg, change directions many times. But I'm tough and I'll be ready for tomorrow. I'm happy with the job they're doing now, P1 and P3, so it looks like they're doing a great job. So yes, confident for tomorrow. Let's go for it and enjoy a lot the race tomorrow. And as always, vamos pra cima amanhã. Valeu.
Good job.
Neil, can Eric Granado fight for that first win in 2025?
Yes, I'm going to say it definitively. seen enough in that session to suggest that yes, he can. Although I think we do have a clear favourite for tomorrow's two races. The rider on pole, but I think the rider in third, just spoken to, and the rider I'm sure we're about to speak to, will have something to say about it.
Lorenzo Baldassarri is never shy to get his big lanky elbows out, that is for certain, and he knows how to win the Grand Prix. I think he's in position, so in a moment we will be hearing from him. There he is on your screen. El, take it away.
Lorenzo, top job P2 in qualifying. How are you feeling here at Balaton, and are you confident you can fight for your debut win in MotoE?
Yeah, for sure it was important for us to start from the front row because the MotoE is very important, and I think it was my target to try to fight for win also in the race. That is the most important thing. So very happy with the job we did with the team. Also we have the back-to-back, so for me that I'm a rookie for MotoE is important because many times without the bike is strange to also you go training, but is much different. So this is good for us to have a back-to-back, and let's enjoy and give the best in the race.
Great job, good luck for tomorrow's races.
Thank you. Thank you.
The best qualifying of the season for Lorenzo Baldassarri. P2 well earned, another one in the fight for victory.
Yeah, without question, sounded confident as well, didn't he? Did Lorenzo, as you said previously, did go a Grand Prix winner, and some renown, but not even Lorenzo Baldassarri is able to take pole position. That fell to this rider here, Mattia Casadei, on pole position, and he's in Parc Fermé with El.
Mattia, what a Friday, dominant in practice, and then in qualifying, you must be pretty happy right now.
Yeah, I'm very happy for this Friday. I enjoy a lot the track, and I enjoy to work very good with my team. I'm happy about today. And nothing. We are ready for tomorrow, and we try to bring as much point as possible at home.
Good job, good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Mattia Casadei almost seems nervous there, doesn't he, thinking about tomorrow after a couple of mistakes in the last two rounds. Assen and the Red Bull Ring. Casadei looking to convert pole position and really do some serious damage into Andrea Mantovani's championship lead. Whether or not he's going to be able to, well, that is a massive question that still needs answering. The standings at the moment, they read that it is Mantovani on top in the championship in second place, and Alessandro Zacconi, and then it is Lorenzo Baldassarri. But that could all change with P5 overall in the standings. Casadei going from pole, Baldassarri second, Granado third. Varga, a fine effort from the Hungarian at home, and he is just 3/10 off that pole in fourth. Spinelli in fifth ahead of Zacconi. Look at all those big names down the order. Hector Garza goes from the middle of the fourth row in 11th, and Andrea Mantovani, as we said, down in 15th place. That is a slender 8-point lead that he has coming into this round. It will be a miracle if he leaves with anything more than that this time around as we go into the second half of 2025. Mattia Casadei is the one on pole, and he's the one they want to beat. Balder on the first ever front row in MotoE. Granado a third in four. Keep an eye out for the 47 of Tibor Varga. Join myself, Gigo Giles, and Neil Morrison alongside me, El York in pit lane for both races tomorrow, 12 and 4 o'clock local time. Goodbye.